And now we move on to season 3 of Drake and Josh, starting off with the Drake and Josh In, which is, I think, a pretty good start to this series, honestly. And we're definitely another great premiere, honestly, where basically we see Drake and Josh basically have the house to themselves, having the babysit Megan, and they go out. They end up spending all the emergency money, well, most of Drake. And then they end up having the home be a bed and breakfast, and then things get so crazy where basically they end up having the house be on MTV Spring Break, which is then one of the most outlandish things that happened to Drake and Josh. And again, it's a constant one where we get some many hilarious moments. Again, them having to use the gas to basically get everyone out, and then have the parents of getting arrested for it, or at least for the party at least. Again, get the hilarious hijinks by Drake and Josh, obviously, like, overall, pretty great premiere. And then we get to the pre and pup pet fair, which is, I never really started to make like Megan's presence a lot more noticeable in the show, and for good reason. It's not one of my favorite episodes this season. It definitely still is the latest episode. Seeing Drake and Josh trying to prove that Megan is an evil little girl, like that whole thing where they kind of drop Megan's poster and then they end up believing her. Like, it's one of those hilarious scenes that lives rent in my head. Again, it's always Drake and Josh's chemistry that always makes these episodes so good, and it's might be one of my favorites. It's no exception. And now we get to We're Married. The episode has always been a favorite of mine, and rewatching it is still one of my favorites. Based episode where Josh's Ben Paul ends up coming to visit him with her weird customs. Like, you always got to have one of these type of characters in these type of shows during this time. And then basically trying to hold a ceremony that ends up being Drake and the pen pal Yoka getting married. When Josh's like, wait, what? And all the things that come with being married, and then to try to get out of it. And when Drake finds out actually rich, he actually wants to stay, but it's just all the shenanigans. And of course, they're like, Oprah can do anything, or it's hilarious. And like some of the most hilarious moments come from this episode. And now we get to Minnie's back. We're introducing Minnie Kashal back on the show. And this episode's never been one of my favorites, honestly. Like, it's probably my least favorite this season, but again, I don't think it's bad, honestly. It's still a good episode. Again, the start of the whole Drake, Josh, and Minnie relationship ends up pretty well. And we see Josh basically scared to tell Drake because he's afraid he's going to scream and hate him about it. And I don't know why. I know this is probably one of the most episodes I rewatched the least, honestly. And I don't know why, honestly. Because it's still a good episode. It still has its moments. Just never really want to come back to often. And despite the latest moments, I'll probably say the same thing with the affairs, probably having some incredibly hilarious moments. Especially with the whole milk scene and the thing that the father's having an affair and all the stuff they're trying to introduce that Audrey's like a good person. And of course, I said cinnamon! Cinnamon! Realizing that he actually might get a job as a weatherman on the most important morning show in America. And then seeing Drake and Josh like that, all this stuff as what happened. Again, I don't know why it's different when I watch all that much, but it's still a good episode. And now we have Playing the Field, which basically has Drake's having to break up with his girlfriend, as he doesn't want to say, but turns out, because he's using another guy, he basically wants him back. Again, another pretty fun episode that kind of shows Drake's kind of what's like him actually using a girl to basically get revenge, to try and get her back, which she ends up doing so. And it gives us a lot of side plot with Josh getting a mustache. It's always been one of my favorite side plots on this entire show, so again, probably not my favorites here, but still a pretty good episode. Helen Surgery has always been one I've always loved and enjoyed, honestly, and I still do enjoy it. I mean, I don't love it as much as I used to, but it's still a great episode. Basically showcasing the best of what Helen can do as a supporting character. Again, the animation Drake and Josh has an incredible supporting cast. Yeah. But again, a pretty hilarious moment. Episode showing Helen as at her best about Cole Brown and her acting shots, basically her having eye surgery, still trying to go to work, find out she was actually a child actor, and then goes to get kind of like, that is not my job. I think the only thing I didn't like is the whole funeral scene that where Josh imagines Helen dying, and I never liked that scene, mostly because it just doesn't make it just kind of wastes a little time, but I don't know, it's still a pretty good episode, and you get a pretty much side plot with Megan basically deciding to offer Josh an idea that ends up working, that he didn't believe but ends up working. And at least it's a pretty hilarious moment by the end. So yeah, overall, still a pretty good episode. Paging Dr. Drake. Based on an episode where Drake has to be a doctor when Drake uses a potato launcher to launch would use it, and he accidentally hits Josh Pruitt by hitting him and dropping his bar down his foot. And that image at first still haunts my dreams. Sometimes, like, holy shit, you haven't managed to show that. Then we see Drake pretending to be a doctor, ends up becoming a different doctor, and at least to some other stuff. Again, probably not been one of my favorites, honestly, but it's still a pretty solid episode. Like I said, even the one Drake episodes on these seasons are still pretty good. Maybe it's just not as hilarious or as rewatchable as other episodes, and that's okay. So I don't know what it's going to be at the end of it, but it's still a pretty good episode. Again, that whole scene when Josh says, "I kissed your wife," it's still one of the most hilarious exchanges in any of Drake Josh episodes. So, yeah, that alone, it's a pretty good one. Oh, now we get to one of my favorites in Foam Figure. Episode I watched constantly growing up, and it's still one of my favorite episodes in the entire show, and for good reason. I don't know if it actually was on my original list, honestly, but it's one great. It's one of the most hilarious episodes, probably the most hilarious episode in the entire show, in my opinion. It's where basically Drake and Josh fight over a damn foam finger, and it turns out they actually met like many years ago at a Padres game, and they both have different ideas of how caused them to actually have a fight that apparently got so bad it caused security to get involved. Yeah, Drake and Josh. But it gives many hilarious changes. Getting that dinner scene is still hilarious. I hope Global. I'm gonna against Oprah. Take that back. That scene's still hilarious. And then the big match, the guy himself that was in the game, and turns out the Megan that was the problem. You get this hilarious like flash forward scene of them being 80 and everything. Like, it's just so consistently hilarious. And pretty much displays the best chemistry that Drake and Josh do have in this show. So all around, I think this was a home run. No pun intended. The Opposed episode never has been one of my favorites, but it's one I still do enjoy watching. It's basically an episode where we got two plots going on opposite and kind of intertwining, where basically Drake ends up dating a girl that basically ends up being tougher than him, and he ended up having having a wrestling fight to see who's stronger, which I find is always pretty hilarious. And then you see Josh trying to punish Minnie's parents, who end up being kind of stuck up people. And fun of this fight is going pretty hilarious. I think, again, it's probably not as hilarious, honestly. You know, that scene where basically Josh and his girlfriend Lucy basically end up going down in the kitchen while John actually was impressing his parents. And then John's like, "You ruined my dinner, you ruined my life, officer, and you ruined my relationship." Did you know that was nice? Well, that exchange is still hilarious, and it's a pretty nice, fun way as well. So, yeah, not my favorites, but still a pretty fun episode. And then we get to a fun little Megan episode with Sheep Throws, which basically has Megan excited by a sheep, and having Drake and Josh trying to hide it, so they won't pull price on in 3 months. Again, most of the my thoughts one, well, it's not the most consistent hilarious episode. It's not one I've come back to often. And it's very ridiculous that I still believe Megan over him. Sorry, ridiculous of it. But it shows how Megan smart and pretty is, actually, so. But yeah, it's a pretty hilarious episode with some very fun humor. And fun, and just a very charming episode all around. Now, like I said, in the latest season, they actually started to try and make Megan a lot more of an actual character instead of her obviously being just the evil sister. I think they decided to actually give them, again, more of a character. More of an actual character. More of an actual character. More of an actual character. And you definitely do get that here, Megan, your teacher, which one I've also always enjoyed. I bet Josh ends up getting a teaching job at Megan's school and everything, and he ends up getting like college level work, as they say, and they hate Megan for it. And Drake ends up getting this guy's new drummer, which kind of sorts out with that storyline. It leads to some fun actually in Drake and Megan storylines we don't get to see it often, honestly. And the way that basically have tried to get Josh fired is still one of the most hilarious things ever. But overall, a pretty solid, fun episode. Now we get to Little Sibling, which is one of the most wholesome episodes in the entire show. Basically, sort of a pretty hilarious moment where basically Drake ends up trying to make his Hafer to basically that he wasn't class on time when he was late, and then Josh ends up selling him out, which is some pretty hilarious stuff from Josh and some of his most hilarious acting. And now when to go into remedial English, which is probably a pretty tough class from what they show us, he decides to get a little sibling. But he has to find more with Josh, and then again, the relationship is just very wholesome in general. Honestly, especially with the scene where they try to have a cooking show, and then just like, you're the best guy ever, and they're just like, wow, that's a first. That's a, everyone always say Drake's a cool guy. It's like things not way around for a change. Then obviously when Drake ends up seeing that, he basically, after winning back over again, he ends up faking sick and encouraging Josh to go with Josh. And started going English, and then Drake ends up, Josh ends up bailing him out. Makes it one of the most wholesome episodes in the entire show that I always love watching and come back to, and for good reason. Yeah, another favorite of mine from the show. And then we get to Dear Dog, which has also always been a favorite of mine, and one of the most hilarious episodes of the entire show. We kind of feel for Josh in a lot of this episode, especially how the episode ends actually, with Josh still getting arrested, as basically ends up playing the role of the Dear Dog in a little commercial thing, and then people say, careful Dear Dog, like, I just put a gun to your eye, and then they end up beating him up and get arrested. Like, wow. But again, this is some very last time, especially when we see ladies like go to Drake about his one line. Whoa, take it easy, man. Which again, it makes some very consistent, hilarious moments and some jarring horror moments. You know, again, it leads to Josh basically still getting arrested. But yeah, it's one of the more hilarious episodes of the entire show. And I get to one I always like how I remember watching so much growing up, and while it's not as good as I remember to being, it's still a pretty good episode that has some of the most memorable moments of the show that I remember fondly. As basically you see Jung and Josh trying to go to roller coaster the first day it opens, but they had to watch his grandfather, who's very like not well, and then convince Greg and Eric to basically watch him, and all the men going along, and then shenanigans and them getting them sent back in line, and everything, but making just the time and how hilarious hijinks that shows him all that stuff. And I see what Drake basically tries to do math, and just like, it's like, if you can do math, why do you go to school? Because this is important. I know that always gets me. So yeah, another consistent hilarious episode. Nice. And now we get to the episode that Invasion, which is basically the episode I remember also we watched it so much, but it's one that still holds up pretty well. It's basically the episode where basically Drake and Josh trying to finally get revenge on Megan for all the pranks he did. He also get one of those opening sequences where it turns out that Megan gave Josh drinking them 3 hobos and got all Josh's underwear pink. Like that always gets me, honestly. He basically see him after basically them getting in trouble again, they decided to get back by convincing that there are aliens that are coming forth. Aliens! Aliens! And then they end up trusting these makeup effects things and trying to trick Megan, which actually worked honestly, but they end up convincing someone else to do than what so Megan knows, it ends up doing so as well. Which at least there's some fun back and forth, and that alien sequence is one of my favorite moments of the entire show. And the ending would walk to basically just jump out the window as the end of seeing the alien. Like, again, another consistently hilarious episode. And now we end on season 3 with the Dr. Phyllis show. It actually is actually a kind of recap, like flashback episode, but this one does it very effectively by doing it in a talk show format. And a lot of the back and forth that comes between all those flashbacks, as basically Megan's tired of Jung and Josh always fighting. And Dr. Phyllis' reactions to everything is just like so hilarious. Like, I think the plays Dr. Phyllis, but she really nails the comedy very well, actually. Especially finding out that the girlfriend I mentioned that Drake used to try and get his girlfriend back and play in the field ended up being her daughter. Like, I'm not down to be like so hilarious when I first saw it. It still hits, especially when she ends up beating them up on live TV. But this was a very wholesome moment, good times, and it leads to fighting again. So, yeah, again, very consistent episodes. Always been one of my, like, truly always been one of my favorites from the show, and for good reason. So, yeah, overall, season 3 is probably one of the best seasons of the show so far. Well, even the worst episodes, episodes would be like solved to good, honestly. But I think they're following the comedy and the aspects and the great supporting characters. And these when they started to actually make more actual characters instead of just punching bags or have like one note portions, which is I think truly the best nickelodeon shows usually do pretty well, and they do it effectively here. So yeah, we have one more season to talk about.